Welcome everyone today to our panel with our Wishlist integration folks. Today on the webinar, we have Megan Poppy, who's the owner of Pine and Poppy Event Rentals. Welcome, Megan.
Hi, thank you.
Megan Poppy and her husband Kyle started their business in 2010 after their very own wedding day, which I love. Everyone has a different story to get in this industry, which makes it one of my favorite things about it. Their lounge furniture and decor were delivered from 6 hours away. So after their matrimonial death settled, they found themselves inspired to solve the 6-hour problem for others. And so they are hoping that that can be the drive behind clients' joy, convenience, and making their special day even more special. And they're really on a mission to help their clients gather, get together, celebrate, and focus on what really matters on those special occasions, which I love. We also have Shannon Thomas, who's the vice president and one of the owners of Creative Solutions Special Events. Hey, Shannon, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. I hope you all are.
Shannon Thomas founded Creative Solutions Special Events, a full-service party equipment rental company in 2000 with her husband, Brad. We have two people who are working with their spouses. I love that. They are based out of Belmont, North Carolina, and offer everything you need for any special occasion. The team is dedicated to providing the highest quality of service. They strive to produce one-of-a-kind special events in every stage of the planning process. They can step in, they can take over, and they can really help their clients build their custom celebrations and the event of their dreams. Thank you both for taking the time. Well, we were just speaking of time, we were talking about time, and I know that we are now in a very busy season. We are hearing it left and right from folks. I know that that is going to be an interesting challenge for folks this year as things are just getting so crazy. And so with that, I'm going to dive right in today. We're going to go ahead and chat through some of the questions we have for our panelists. We are also going to have some time for a live Q&A. So if you think of questions as we're going, be sure to chat those in. But I want to make sure that we are able to answer a lot of the questions we're hearing over and over again. And then we will have some time to hear if there's any fresh new ones before we get everyone right back to work. So to kick things off, my very first question for both of you is, this is something I've actually struggled with. We have been calling our website Wishlist integration exactly that from day one. And as part of the senior leadership team here at Goodshuffle Pro, I was actually part of those conversations of what do we call it? How do we brand it? And it was really important to us to make it clear that this was not some sort of like Amazon.com shopping experience, that people were still going to maintain their relationship with their clients, that they were still going to have control over orders, all of those other things. And so we wanted to make sure that we called it Wishlist to really emphasize that yes, this is an integration with your website, but no, you don't have to worry about orders that come in at 2 a.m. and someone shows up ready to rock at 9. That said, we actually have a bit of a struggle that oftentimes people misunderstand what the heck this thing is. What does it do? How does it work? Is it on my website? Is it on your website? So I'm curious, from either of you, I don't know, Megan, if you want to kick us off, how would you describe what this is to someone totally new to it?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and for me at first it was like, how do you describe this to someone that's in the industry? And to me, I think the simplest way is a way for your client to utilize your website to pick out what they're interested in and create a shopping cart, but they don't purchase it at the end. And once they create that shopping cart and click submit, it goes automatically to us, where Goodshuffle creates a project for us with all the items that they picked. And from there, we get to have a conversation with the client and either upsell them on options and say, I saw you pick these certain items, it would look really great with that. Is this rug or these pillows? And from there, you can edit what they have, or maybe it's not available and you have to have that conversation with them, but you get to tell them, you might have wanted this pink sofa, but how about we do a white sofa and we put it with pink pillows, so we're still staying within your vision. So yeah, I think the simplest way is like a shopping cart that they get to pick what they like, and then it gets automatically sent over to us.
I love that. Shannon, does that sound about right to you? Anything you'd elaborate on?
I think it's exactly the same. And I think the wish list is the perfect name for it, because when we meet with a client the first time, we always ask for their wish list. So they're able, I mean, I'm not sure how you could explain that better, but that's exactly what it is. And I am astounded by the number of people that we run into weekly that have looked at our catalog or our website, and really what they're looking at is the wish list. And they don't even realize it. So they're looking at what they're thinking are just a product information, and they're actually able to place their order for what they want. And at the end of the week, I'm thrilled with the little arrows that are in our on our dashboard or in our projects, because they've actually followed through with the process through the wish list. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and I think both of you are really describing the client experience as being a big part of it, right? That like, the clients love it. But I think two things that sometimes get lost on it is either folks don't understand that they don't have to build all of their inventory on the website, that it's actually coming from Goodshuffle, or they get that part, but what they think it's going to do is email them. And I think then they're equally surprised to understand that it builds the project itself. So those are things we're always trying to convey.
Right.
Yeah, and that it's so great once it already builds that project. And on the other end, setting it up is so easy that, we can put in our new inventory and automatically it goes to our website, and I don't have to worry about, if it's formatted correctly or if it looks good, because it always does. And I'm not savvy on a website at all. So for me, it's just super user friendly, just like it is for our clients.
And for both of you, was there something specific that kind of, made you decide to use this? Was it something that, you always knew you wanted, or was there something in particular, like a pain point or a business need that kind of pushed you into saying, all right, we should explore this more? Shannon, I don't know if you wanted to share first this time.
Sure. Ours was definitely COVID. When we realized that we needed to have less contact with the client, we knew it was time to get busy. And it's great. I mean, no regrets. I think I've told you this before. I wish we had started it the year before, because people immediately started using it. So, and ours is a continual work in progress. We're always trying to make it better and more user friendly for our client, for the feedback that we hear back from them. So for us, it was definitely COVID, like trying to do more things without personal touch.
Was the timing similar for you, Megan, or was yours more recent?
So we actually started our business almost exactly a year ago. And when we were building our website, for websites, I get quickly frustrated if I don't know what the business does, where it's located, how to contact them, and how to use it. And so we did a lot of research on other rental companies around the United States. And we quickly found that most of the websites that we really liked had this wish list integration. I didn't really know what it meant yet, but I used it almost like I was renting from them. And so I wanted to go on there. I was like, what is this? And that's why we ended up using it, is because it was just so easy for me to use. And then once we learned a little bit more about how it was easy for us to use on our business side, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned also where a business is located. I think this has become like a personal pet peeve of mine, is that I cannot tell you the number of times that we will have someone sign up to do a demo of the software, and we'll go to their website. And one of the things, our sales team would be trying to look at is what time zone are they in? We certainly don't want to call them early in the morning if they're on the West Coast, and the crazy early in the morning, since most of us are East Coast based, and it won't say where they are. Well, how on earth am I supposed to know if I can use you for an event if I don't know where you are? And it's something that people overlook. I actually did a webinar on SEO not too long ago, and a friend of mine who's more on the planning side of things joined, and she texted me with the confession after, which was, I just realized my location is not on my website after watching your webinar. So I have roasted her since then. But yes, I mean, people want to know where you are, and they want to know what you have. It doesn't have to be even every single thing that you have. It can be some of your most popular items, packages, just getting their kind of brain going on what you do. And Shannon, one of the things you said that I love, that I've been really trying to emphasize with all of our users across any of our features, is you don't have to do everything at once. You can get this going, and you can start building more custom landing pages. You could have a landing page special for graduation, or all these things you can dream up. You don't have to do them right out of the gate to still get people automatically submitting.
Right.
That's wonderful. So tell me, both of you, when you were looking at it, were there any fears, concerns? Was there anything that was holding you back? Or, even if it is sometimes just, Megan, you said you're not super tech savvy. We hear that all the time. Like, what was it? Was that a concern at all for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I've never worked with, making a website before. And so going into it, it was kind of scary. And like I said, we were a new business. And so the cost of it was something that we really had to think of. And, is it going to be worth it? And like Shannon mentioned, when we launched it, we got a wish list within, a couple of weeks for us. And that was so exciting because we were brand new. And it was a wedding planner that just said, thank you for having this. This is so great. This is so easy for me and quick.
Oh.
And so, initial fears were price and, am I going to be able to figure this out? And I can't. So it's good.
That's awesome. How about you, Shannon?
Same thing. It was just the initial fear of just taking the step. But once we took the step, it was so easy. And we refined ours, and we've worked with one of your recommended partners, and that has been a fantastic experience. And the hardest thing that we have tackled here has been linens, like how we get our linens in the easiest way for the client. And twofold here, we have it. We're almost finished with it, getting ready to open that up on the wish list, which we're so excited about. But the second part of that is I am astounded at the number of people that call the office or email to ask about linens because they didn't see them on the wish list. So we know that people are going there and they're looking at it and they see it, and that's reinforced here almost on a daily basis. So linens are something that we're tackling now. They were on there. We didn't love the way that we had set it up, so we backed out of that. And then we did exactly what Megan said. We scoured other people's websites and wish lists, and we have figured it out what we want, and we're happy to unveil that by the end of next week.
Yay. Oh my gosh,
Yay.
I cannot wait to see it. And also, I love that you're giving a good example of one way you might consider doing incremental changes on the website, which is if you weren't sure how to do, like how you wanted to do something, or how you want it to look, you could always do some things that are a bit maybe more obvious, tense tables, if you have specific collections that you love. And then what you're describing is like the pain point of like, well, we keep getting calls about this one thing. That's how you can prioritize. I think people are so busy and crazed. They're sort of like, I don't know where to start. Well, that's a great way. Like, well, once you start getting the most calls for something, that's probably the next thing on the to-do list.
Absolutely.
And my favorite way to talk about tackling some of those things, Shannon, to this day, is I always reference Megan Shannon told me when I was actually visiting her in person that she had, when she wanted to perfect her inventory for the wish list, that she had carved out 15 minutes every morning where she wouldn't look at her email. She would work on it for 15 minutes, set a timer, and then start looking at her email. And I have said that is like something I'm encouraging my team to do. I need to get better at myself of just once you start looking at email, your day is just gone.
That's right.
You know it. And if you just say like 15 minutes, everything can wait 15 minutes, then you can carve away at those things, which I was like, that's like a life-changing tip for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm so happy. Good.
I say it to everyone. I now practicing what you preach. We'll talk about that on another webinar. So it sounds like you've seen some pretty big impacts. Shannon, you mentioned the fact that like it's got to be that you're spending less time on the phone if you notice the linens being the exception now. What other impacts have you seen since you implemented it?
That's a big one. Less email, less phone calls. And we still reach out. I mean, we reach out to every single person and try to make a verbal connection with them. But we have found that a lot of people are using the wish list at all different hours and times of the day. And they may not necessarily want to talk to us. Like they're doing it because it's easy. And that, I think that's just an adjustment of the time that we're in right now. Everybody is so busy and so overwhelmed with phone calls, emails, technology, that it's easy to sit on your couch at night and plan your wedding or plan your party, and they do it through the wish list. And there's no way we would move forward without having it. We only want to tweak it more to our business and our client.
I love that. And what about you, Megan? Do you feel also like there are just some clients who really don't particularly want to chat on the phone?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's totally okay. And, it's so great to receive that email that you have a wish list. And if you're sitting there right there in the computer, you could send them off a proposal within minutes. And we always just get like, wow, thank you for responding so quickly. And I think it's added a lot of credibility to our business too, as being so new that, they can go on there and quickly fill out what they want and we can respond and have something to them really quickly, which is important to people, especially this year that there's so many vendors out there that there's, either booked or they just want to know, like, can I have something at my wedding?
Right.
And so to be able to respond to them quickly has been great. And another impact that we have is, there's no user error, or there's less of it, at least, that we can go on our side on the software and something comes back damaged and I can say, oh, don't show that on the website anymore. And within minutes, it's gone. I love that. Less user error for us, which is awesome.
I love that. I am like known as being practical to a fault. And I think we do kind of get like caught up in some of the cool, shiny, fun parts of this integration. But some of it is just the practical thing that like sometimes things happen. And I certainly don't want someone trying to book the couch that's going to take probably a month to refurbish, maybe just because everyone's too busy to do anything about it. And the fact that you can click that set aside, you could easily go ahead and remove from wish list and then not have to worry about having to tell 15 people, sorry, that's still out. That is
Right.
one of those things we overlook when we're talking about advantages.
Right.
I think it's
Yeah.
also really interesting that you both have such different so many people ask like, who is this for? And so we keep trying to explain, well, it can be any type of business. We have DJs using it, we have venues using it, we have all these different types of businesses. But also, I love that, Megan, you're talking about adding credibility when you're kind of like the new kid on the block and you're trying to make sure people see like we're legit. And that's really important through your website. Whereas I know Shannon and her husband Brad have had their business for many, many, many years, and she's getting it more as a way to streamline the process because they have so
Right.
many inquiries. So like both things can be true even at different phases of your business growth. I would love to know also from you both the experiences you had with partners. I know, Shannon, you mentioned already working with a partner. Want to tell us a little bit about how that got set up and how that's worked so far?
Yes. So I reached out to you and said, I think that we want it to look a little different, I would need a different perspective from somebody that has some more experience and could make it flow a little easier than what we had. And we knew we wanted to do different categories. And you connected us with someone or gave me some options. And the very first person that we reached out to, we loved. And Lauren Taylor that works with me has handled that almost exclusively, and it has been amazing. Just an amazing experience. She's helping us right now with linens.
Love it. What about you, Megan? How was your experience in the build and the transition gone?
Yeah, so we worked with someone for our branding and creating a logo and creating the website, and they were awesome. And they really listened to what we wanted and what we needed. And they did their research on their end on looking at other websites, rental pros. And so we came out with a product that we really loved. And then recently we actually went through one of your preferred partners on your website because we wanted to add an FAQ page. We wanted to add some category pictures. And so when we were looking at that, we were going to go with our original partners, but then we're like, oh, we kind of want someone that really understands Goodshuffle and our business and what we do. And so we went with Compete Now, and they were awesome to work with, and we'll definitely use them again if we need to add any pages or make adjustments. Because like I said, I don't know how to do any of that on the website. So they were really amazing to work with.
That's awesome. And you're working with Full Stack Media, right, Shannon?
Yes.
Awesome. So those are two different partners of ours. Compete Now and Full Stack Media are two of our like longest term partners. And I think, we get these questions. People will say, can I do it myself? Absolutely, you can. And then people will say, well, can my partner I've already worked with, like yours, Megan, can they do it? Absolutely, they can. Our preferred partners are not the only people who can do it. We just wanted to have people who we know that we can vouch for doing a good job, and also who we know are reasonably priced. Because as you mentioned in the beginning, Megan, price is a consideration, particularly if you want to have someone else do it, which I tend to recommend. Like if you're a busy business owner and like that's not really your area of expertise, of course, having that consultation of what looks best is helpful. And also just the speed to get it live. Like the goal is to get the ROI on an investment as quickly as possible. And if you're kind of having to rewatch our video tutorials or learn, it can just take time that no one has. So I always tend to recommend find a nice, affordable professional to do these things. And, you know, I love everyone we've ever worked with, and they always have done a great job. So I think that's really nice. Do you have, tell me a little bit about any advice that you have of that. What worked in that process? You know, what were you looking for, or did you know what you were looking for? Like Megan, did you come in, since you'd already worked with a different partner, did you feel when you reached out to compete now that you kind of knew what to ask this time? Or were you sort of like, I know we like these colors, like tell me about it.
Yeah, we went in knowing what we wanted. We wanted the FAQ page and we wanted these different category photos on our website, but they were able to provide a lot of context, and they were able to provide options of what they've done before for other companies just like us. And so they gave us examples, or they'd say, hey, I know you want this, but have you thought about maybe approaching it in this way? And so, and they're actually going to help us with some SEO in the future and Google ads. And they have just so much knowledge, especially for us. And they've worked with other event rental companies that it just, and like you said, they're reasonably priced and super helpful and responsive.
And what about you, Shannon? Did you kind of have a budget in mind coming in, or you were sort of kind of just looking around and seeing who we'd worked with?
Right. Of course, budget mattered, but the very first person that we reached out to, we connected with immediately. I sent an email, she followed up with a phone call, we immediately connected. Laura and I hopped on a conference call, and literally, no exaggeration, in 10 minutes, she was able to like fill out what we wanted. And she knew, and she said, give me 3 days, I'll have a product back to you. In 3 days, we looked at it and make sure we were all on the same page. It was exactly what we wanted. So we started with that. She's helped us tweak it along the way. And then Lauren just reached out to her within the last 10 days and said, okay, we're ready to make linens a focus. We want to unveil it. And Lauren just told me this morning that it looks fantastic and she can't wait to share it. So that whole experience was so easy. I would definitely, because I was a little intimidated by it, I think, by the whole process initially. Like we knew we wanted to do it, but we were just a little intimidated about the process. She made it so easy. So we had started it. And just like you said, Megan, I'll go back to the point of just adding a new product to our inventory in Goodshuffle, which is a day-to-day task for us. You know, it feels like so much stuff comes in or changes on a daily basis. Being able to click a button, just click a checkbox and say, yes, I want it to go to our wish list. That I just can't say enough about how easy it is. So if you're intimidated about the process of setting it up, hire a partner to work with, because that is so easy. And then actually maintaining it is one of the easiest things we do throughout the day.
Did you think that for either of you, do you think that like when you imagined what the process would look like, did it seem like a bigger mountain to climb than it was?
Yes.
Yeah, I initially, and putting in inventory, it does take time, but gosh, it pays off so much. And once you do it once, it's in there. And I love that you can go back and add photos from your actual events of a piece being used. If you have shelves that you can use it for so many different ways, you can put that on your website and show that, it gives people an idea of, oh, I can use it as a dessert or champagne or, whatever it may be. So it's so easy. It takes, not that much time, which I love.
Yeah. And I think also a lot of people have said like, I got an immediate inquiry within a day. I got an immediate inquiry within a week, whatever. They're seeing their SEO go up, but then there's endless opportunities to double down on that too. So we've had people who say, I'm going to this year do a holiday themed collection. And it's really easy to just pop open a page that's got anything that you have that's green or red, or anything that's in your
Right.
Christmas collection, or whatever it may be for you. And then the discoverability of somebody searching, hey, company Christmas party rentals in my area, like that's where you can really start to see it go nuts. And that gets me really nerdy excited. So I would love to see if there's any audience questions. I do have a couple of questions coming in. One question is, I don't have a website yet. Do you have a specific website builder that you recommend that is easiest to get started on? I can answer some of my recommendations, but I'm curious to hear from you all. Megan, what are you using for your website?
We use WordPress.
WordPress? And then how about you, Shannon?
Oh, I'm so sad that you asked me that question. We actually changed our format to use something that we learned from one of your seminars, something that we
Okay.
watched from Goodshuffle. And if you would say it, I would say, yes, that's what we use. But I can't remember what it is.
Is it Squarespace?
I
Or
don't know.
Weebly or Webflow?
Oh, I think it may be Weebly.
Weebly? Great.
Mhm.
Yeah. I would say WordPress and Squarespace are our most common ones. I'd say Weebly and Webflow are our second most common ones. I tend to say one of the only ones that that doesn't work with ours because it doesn't do any custom integrations is a platform called Wix, which they're now taking over. You've probably heard them if you listen to podcasts. And they just don't allow any kind of custom integration. So I end up recommending Squarespace a good amount just because I find that a lot of people who are used to the format of Wix, Squarespace feels very similar and user friendly. But that said, neither of the folks on our panel today use Squarespace and both love their wish list. So that's just what I end up saying a lot because I think people think of it as kind of comparable to Wix, which doesn't work with integration.
I'm checking with my team because I think there's a strong chance it could be Squarespace. So stay tuned.
I love it. All right, we'll get an update here shortly. And see, you don't have to be somebody who's involved in the actual picking, but
Nope.
obviously you can still dictate exactly how you want it to look, and a partner can handle it for you.
Absolutely.
And somebody asked, can people search all my inventory with the wish list? Do you want to answer that?
I can. So with us, what we do is we selected what we wanted people to search and what we wanted folks to be able to see. So we didn't necessarily think that we wanted to have disposable trash cans on our wish list, or that we didn't want to have trash cans as a whole on our wish list. So we just choose not to put that on there. And when they make the phone call to ask, we're able to say, yes, we do have these for or they send the email or we email them back. We can just say, do you need to add trash cans for your event? So yes, we were able to, they can search our inventory, but we guide what we want them to search.
Yes.
Yeah, similarly, we originally, when we had our website, we took the search bar off. I don't know why, but recently when we worked with your preferred partner, we added that back into our website. And what's so great about it is when you input your inventory on the software side, you can put in a pink sofa, and you can put in color terms like blush, pink, sofa, velvet, all these different keywords. So when they search in our search bar, pink couch, it will come up. They don't have to necessarily know the name of the inventory. So that's why we ended up putting back into our website so they can search for whatever that they're looking for.
I love that. And people sometimes think that you can only have a search if you do a full gallery page, meaning with all the inventory that you have available. And that's actually not true. You can have search bars on specific pages. You can choose to have them on pages that are on some and not others. So if you want to just show a collection, but you don't want them to search within that smaller page, you could skip it. And then you could have a page that says, full catalog or other stuff like trash cans, and have it's searchable there. So there's lots of options on that front. You can also choose what you guide people to. I love that you use that word, Shannon, of like, here are the things I'm going to feature and guide people to. Whereas you could have potentially like in the footer or somewhere in the bottom of your page, like everything else. And so that there's still discoverability through SEO. There's still an option, but it's not really like the prettiest of your things. I think I've got one more question here. Oh, no, we already answered that one. Well, is there anything else that either of you would like to say? Anything that has surprised you in the experience of using it? or anything you're most excited about. I'm really excited to see Shannon's new linens. I have obviously both
Yeah,
of the
me
websites
too.
that you should check out. Yeah. What else are we, what's next for, I think one of you mentioned maybe doing some SEO work with one of our partners, which I love hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say if you're thinking about trying it out, just do it. And you won't regret it. And, you know, in previous jobs that I've worked for, it's been frustrating to have so many different platforms. You have like a site for messaging, a site for inventory tracking, a site for accounting. And what's so great about this is you have it all in one space and it's so easy to use. So if someone's thinking about doing it, it's a no-brainer. At least just give it a shot and you'll end up loving it.
Have either of you thought of doing like venue specific pages on your site? That's another thing that we started to see. We're seeing all sorts of creative ways people are doing it. And so if like you're a featured partner at a venue or a featured partner of a planner, like there can be landing pages specific to that. I don't know if that's something you've explored as well.
No, I'm going to make a note. That's a good idea.
We have been working with different photographers and trying to get different pictures so that we can actually, we used to have the pages years ago, but we're ready to add them back. So we've been working with folks to do that. Yeah.
I love it. Cool. Well, thank you both so much for your time today. I know everyone is so busy. I really appreciate hearing both of your perspectives and to hear just that it's been that impactful. Love also seeing that, you know, businesses with different needs are coming to the wish list for different things and seeing that impact right away. It's just something that makes me so excited and proud and happy. And so we're excited to have you both as panelists today, and of course, part of the Goodshuffle family in general.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
Karen.
for
Nice to
having
meet
me.
you, Shannon.
You too. You too.
All right. Thank you both, and we'll chat soon.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Thanks.
Have a good one.